Aloha everyone, I'm Uncle Mark Jeffers, and today we'd like to read a story called Princess Victoria Kaiulani, Nakoa Kalani, a portrait of courage. We'd like to read to you this story, Reader's Theater style. So I've decided that our name today is Hatbox Theater, so we're all wearing hats. And we'd like to present this story with our sincere aloha for the memory of our Princess Kaiulani. So with that, shall we start?
Yes.
All right, please introduce yourself.
Aloha, my name is Evie. I'll be playing Victoria Kaiulani.
Hi, my name is Sochi, and I'll be playing Annie Cleghorn and a storyteller.
Aloha, my name is Sabra Kalka, and I will also be a storyteller, and I will be playing Queen Liliuokalani.
All right, let's get started. Once, long ago, but not so long ago that many now living have forgotten, there was a princess of the Hawaiian Islands, Princess Victoria Kaiulani, Kalani Nui a Hilapalapa, Kawekio I Lunalilo Cleghorn. She became known as Kaiulani, which meant the Royal Sacred One. The day was October 16th, 1875, when the lovely young girl was born to a Hawaiian mother and a father who was Scottish by birth. But these were troubled times in Hawaii. There were those who wanted a revolution and to overthrow the king and queen, and to take their throne from them and from all of Hawaii forever. There are many problems for Kaiulani and her people to overcome, but during her lifetime, the largest among them was that Hawaiian Napoe, the Hawaiian people, did not want to be Americans. Scene 1.
For the last 100 years, Kaiulani's story may have been known as tragic because she died young and beautiful. She never got to serve the office for which she was trained, Queen of the Hawaiian Islands. It was hard to know why, but for unknown reasons, the story of Kaiulani's life has been forgotten. We've seen her as a shy, beautiful little girl, a victim who lived a melancholy life. Few people know of her heroism as she became a young woman about to inherit the throne of the Hawaiian kingdom.
I am all Hawaiian. I love this country of mine. Its skies, its trees, its people, its food. I went to school in England, and after the first excitement, I began to long for the island food, a longing that never passed away. When I came home at last, I ran about like a mad thing. I looked for all the hiding places. I climbed to the roof of the house where I used to climb to get away from my governors. I asked for all native things, poi, taro, even the raw fish we eat. You would think that a girl educated in England would shrink from that at least. My aunt, the queen, was delighted. She said, "That's right, you are a good Hawaiian."
Kaiulani was becoming a warrior for her kingdom. She lived lives of adventure, music, and had a wonderful sense of humor, and many great friends. There is even some evidence that Kaiulani introduced surfing to Europe in the English Channel at Brighton.
This is the real Kaiulani that we must remember, how she lived. There are very few accounts of her fight for her struggling Hawaiian nation, but we owe it to her to remember that story be told. Kaiulani's childhood was spent in a paradise setting at Ainahau, just steps from Kapiolani Park. This estate was given to Kaiulani by her godmother, Princess Ruth. Kaiulani's Aunt Ruth, who she called Mama Nui, was her connection to the old Hawaii.
Dear Mama Nui, thank you for the nice hat you sent me. It fits so nicely, Mama wanted it, but I would never let her have it. Thank you for the corn and watermelons. They do taste so good. Are you well? With much love from your little girl, Kaiulani.
The letter was followed a week later by this.
Dear Mama Nui, I want another hat. Mama Like has taken the hat you sent me. Are you better now? When are you coming home? With much love from your little girl, Iulani.
As a high-born ali'i, or island chief, Iulani was treated with great care and had to endure many restrictions on her activities. She could never be alone with her friends. She had several women watching her at all times.
I was not allowed to climb the trees or to race down to the beach or to do any of the things that children have to do alone among themselves without any nurses or elders fussing about.
Iulani didn't understand why. She envied her friends and the children of the servants very much. They did quite as they pleased, even more.
Why shouldn't people use my things or sit on my chair or on my bed? I want to have friends like everybody else.
But Iulani, you are a princess, and others were not.
It is very nice to be a princess, but the nicest thing in the world would to be a queen. How do I learn to be a queen?
There came a time in Iulani's childhood when her mother, Princess Miriam Like, became very ill and knew she was going to die. Kaiu enters and kneels. She called a saddened Iulani to her bedside and after a while told the princess, "Iulani, I will always love you, even if I am not by your side. I have learned in my dreams that you will not be queen, that you will live far from here for a long time, and that you will never be married."
Mama, please do not die now. I need you to guide me, to love me, to show me. Mama Nui, Auntie?
Scene 2. Banyan at Ainahau.
World-renowned writer and poet Robert Louis Stevenson was recently anchored in the Hawaiian Islands. He had gained his fame and fortune by writing some of the world's best-selling books of the time. Treasure Island, The Strange Case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, and Kidnapped, and was now looking for an idyllic and healthy place to move his family. Eventually, he would choose Upolu in the Samoan Islands, but he first spent his 6 months visiting the royal family in Hawaii, becoming great friends with Kaiulani's uncle, King David Kalakaua.
Oh, how I love to go up in the sky. Up in the sky so blue. You're it, Uncle Louie.
A little madness in the spring is wholesome even for the king. You're it.
The world is so full of a number of things. I'm sure that we should be happy as kings. You're it.
The king was in his counting house, counting all his money. You're it.
The queen was in the parlor eating bread and honey. You're it.
The maid was in the garden, hanging up the clothes. You're it.
Along came Allah, and snipped off her nose.
Wait, and who is Allah?
Allah is our Hawaiian black bird. I think she is a cousin to your own black crow. Uncle, could you tell me the poem you read for my Papa Mo'i last fortnight?
Oh, certainly, my princess. Your wish is my command. In the old days, the giving of a poem as a gift is quite a normal thing to do, and so I would like to read for you all a gift I have written for my dear friend, King David Kalakaua, if I may. The silver ship, my king, that was her name, into the bright islands whence your fathers came. The silver ship, at rest from winds and tides, below your palace in your harbor rides. And the seafarers, sitting safe on shore, like eager merchants count their treasures o'er. One gift they find, one strange and lovely thing, now doubly precious since it please a king. The right, my liege, is ancient as the lyre, for bards to give to kings what kings would most admire. 'Tis mine to offer for Apollo's sake, and since the gift is fitting, yours to take. To golden hands the golden pearl I bring, the ocean jewel to the island king.
Uncle Louis, you are from far of Scotland, like my father, yeah?
Yes, that's where I'm from, bonny old Scotland. Why is it that you would ask me that, my island rose?
Tell me, what is it like in bonny old Scotland? Is it warm there? Are the people friendly like here in Hawaii? What do the people like to eat there?
Whoa, my little pony, not so fast. To think about Scotland, you must first think about its people and its land and sea. They go together. Both are rugged yet beautiful and full of life. I know you are curious about my land because, well, soon you'll be headed there to study and learn. And just because you're born a princess does not mean that you know how to rule like good Queen Victoria.
I know, but I'm not looking forward to saying goodbye.
Ah, yes, the sadness of farewell.
Papa Moy and the government want me to live in England, to receive an education fit for a royal queen.
It's really a paramount opportunity. How long will you be away?
A whole year.
A year? Ha! That'll go by in the twinkling of an eye, my little maid. You'll meet new friends, have experiences you haven't dared to imagine. I envy you.
I do want to know more about Father's family and meet the royal families, but having to leave here now at this time, I feel I am needed here.
Perhaps then, this is a perfect moment to present you with a little verse I have penned. In honor of such an auspicious chapter of your life, would you enjoy listening to this poem?
Yes, really? For me? Yes, please, Uncle, please.
Forth from her land, to mine she goes, the island maid, the island rose. She's light of heart, bright of face, she's the daughter of a double race. Her islands here in summer sun shall mourn their iulani gone. And I, in her dear banyan shade, will look around vainly for my little maid. But our Scots islands far away shall glitter with unwonted day, and cast for once their tempests by to smile in Iulani's eye.
Don't worry about me, Uncle. I will study so hard that my brain will have to grow 3 sizes just to contain it all. I know. Uncle, why do I have to go?
It was an order of the king and Mr.
Lauren
Thurston and a cabinet minister that Iulani receive an education for a future queen.
And to do that, she must go to England.
Aloha, Pumehana Kako. I love you all, and I will return to my lovely island sooner than you think, and I will be a good queen someday.
Iulani studied hard, traveled into different countries, and raised funds for the underprivileged. She was very popular in social circles. She made great and lasting friendships in Europe and had more than a few romantic interests.
One day at school in England, Iulani received the sad news of the death of her uncle David Kalakaua. He had died, but Iulani was on a mission. She was going to be a queen one day, and she was preparing. She had to remain steadfast and strong for her people. Scene 3. The Annexation Club, made up of mostly American businessmen, called a meeting at the Armory, which drew more than 1,000 people. Annexationist speakers declared the Hawaiian Islands were in danger of a bloody revolution. Lauren Thurston stood up and said it was Queen Liliuokalani's fault and emphasized his point by shouting, "Now is the time to act and overthrow this disgusting monarchy."
On the 17th of January, 1893, at 5 p.m., a delegation from the newly formed provision government called on the Queen of Iulani Palace and demanded her immediate abdication. With armed U.S. Marines patrolling the streets and the threat of American military intervention that they represented, she realized the futility of the resistance and prepared the following document for the PGs.
I, Liliuokalani, by the grace of God and under the Constitution of the Hawaiian Kingdom, Queen, do hereby solemnly protest against any and all acts done against myself and the constitutional government of the Hawaiian Kingdom by certain persons claiming to have established a provisional government of and for this kingdom, that I yield to the superior force of the United States of America, whose Minister Plenipotentiary, His Excellency John L. Stevens, has caused the United States troops to be landed at Honolulu and declaring he would support such a provisional government. Now, to avoid collision of armed forces and perhaps loss of life, I do, under this protest and imperiled by such forces, yield my authority until such time as the government of the United States shall, upon the facts being presented to it, undo the action of its representative and reinstate me in the authority which I claim as the constitutional sovereign of the Hawaiian Islands.
Done at Honolulu, the 17th day of January 1893, in England of January 30th, 1893, Kaiulani's guardian, Mr. Theophilus H. Davies received 3 telegrams. One said, Queen deposed. The second read, Monarchy abrogated, and the third asked Mr. Davies to break the news to the princess.
Kaiulani was stunned. Mr. Davies suggested that Kaiulani make an immediate trip to Washington to plead Hawaii's case with the newly elected American President Grover Cleveland.
Kaiulani, in her 18th year, was still very shy of the political world. At first, she said she couldn't face such an ordeal, but on thinking it, she decided
Perhaps someday the Hawaiians will say that Iulani could have saved us, but she didn't even try. I will go with you.
A few days later, the princess sailed from England for the United States aboard the Teutonic. Accompanied by Mr. and Mrs. Davies, they arrived on March 1st in New York Harbor. Kaiulani had prepared a statement which she read to the newspaper reporters and the hordes of people who swarmed over the pier for a glimpse of the princess who might become an American citizen if her homeland was taken and annexed by the American businessmen.
Unbidden, I stand upon your shores today where I had thought so soon to receive a royal welcome. I come unattended, except for the loving hearts that come with me over the winter seas. I hear the commissioners from my land. I have been here for many days asking this great nation to take away my little vineyard. They speak no word to me and leave me to find out as I can form the rumors for the air that they would leave me without a home or a name or a nation. 70 years ago, Christian America sent over Christian men and women to give religion and civilization to Hawaii. Today, 3 of the sons of those missionaries at your capital asking you to undo their father's work. Who sent them? Who gave them the authority to break the Constitution which they swore they would uphold? Today, I, a poor weak girl with not one of my people near me, and all of these statesmen against me, I have strength to stand up for the rights of my people. Even now I can hear their wail in my heart, and it gives me strength and courage. I am strong, strong in the faith of God, strong in the knowledge that I am right, strong in the strength of 70 million people who in this free land will hear my cry and will refuse to let their flag cover dishonor to mine.
Who is for annexation? Certainly not the Hawaiians. And the 1,800 Americans in the islands, less than half favor it.
Iulani is 1 year away from Hawaii, turned into 4, then 8. Words of eager annexationists in Honolulu reached Iulani and her father on the island of Jersey, where they were holidaying at their favorite retreat. Iulani was despondent over the new, as it now seemed, Indian, as Hawaii would be annexed to America.
Archie Cleghorn and his daughter discussed the situation far into the night. Iulani felt that her exile was now senseless and that she would no longer be able to endure her absence from home. Whatever Hawaii's fate might be, she wanted to be there to share it with her people.
After the many errands of packing were complete, she finally set sail for home on October 9, 1897. On her way home in San Francisco, the young princess was once again inundated by reporters who were impressed by her beauty and her manner. They discredited the cruel rumors that had been widely circulated about her by the PG governments. As one writer put it, a barbarian princess? Not a bit. Not even a hemi-semi-demi-barbarian. Rather, the very flower, an exotic one, of civilization. Another said, her accent says London, her figure says New York, but her heart says Hawaii. On November 9, 1897, her ship dropped anchor in Honolulu Harbor and was met by the greatest crowd ever seen in Honolulu, assembled to welcome Iulani home. They brought gifts, lei, and eyes filled with aloha. She was their last hope and represented to them much more than they could ever explain.
Iulani reveled in being home again. After getting settled, one of the first things she did was to seek out Fairy, a faithful white saddle pony of her childhood who was now 18 years old. There in the corner of a field, Fairy still waited for her. Iulani hugged and patted him, and then gently mounted the old horse. The ride was not as vigorous as 8 years before, but nothing ever felt so good as the cool breezes from Manoa Valley caressing her white face. Fairy snorted into a canter. Scene 4, Annexation.
Iulani wrote to her auntie Leo'olani, who was still in Washington, D.C., trying to convince the American government to give back the Hawaiian Islands to the Hawaiian people.
Thank God annexation is not a fact. I find everything so much changed, and more especially among the rising generation of Hawaiians and the half-whites. I think it is a great pity, as they are trying to copy the foreigners, and they do not succeed.
Iulani hid the bitterness in her heart from the public and strove to do what was expected of her. Upon the return of Queen Liliuokalani from Washington, D.C., Iulani joined many Hawaiian families in trying to understand why all of this was happening to their tiny kingdom and what could be done to stop from becoming Americans.
The annexationist Americans had their ways at last. Annexationist Day, long dreaded by the Hawaiians, dawned on August 12, 1898. The ceremony was to take place at the palace in sight of the protests of both Hawaii's hereditary rulers and most of the populace.
Hawaii Pono'i was being played as the Hawaiian flag was lowered for the last time. Before it ended, the native musicians threw down their instruments and ran away around the corner of the palace to weep in private.
Now I shan't be much of a real princess, shall I? They haven't left me much to live for. I don't talk about it. I try not to grieve my father who watches over me, so I devotedly and seeks to make up to me for all the love I have lost. For his sake, I try not to mind, to appear bright and happy, but I think my heart is broken.
Visit to Waimea. And then the day came, a visit to Waimea on the Big Island. Her cousin Eva Parker was getting married.
And what a family occasion it turned out to be. A humongous Hawaiian-style party. She stayed for months and enjoyed the time away from Honolulu and took many a horseback ride into the high hill country until one day...
I was caught in rain. When we went riding that bright, clear morning, we had no idea the cold rain would pound upon us so hard. So I loosened my hair and rode like the wind. I had nothing to lose. It was already lost for me. Freedom. At last, my freedom. Freedom.
Iulani became ill and passed away on March 6, 1899. At the moment of her passing, her pet peacocks began screaming wildly, loud and long. Their almost human cries pierced the night. Aina ia mai kapuana, our story is told of Iulani and her search for justice and freedom. Not freedom from being princess or becoming a queen, but freedom for all people of these islands to live, work, and play in peace with justice. Ua pau ka mo'olelo.